Hi, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Namaskaram. Vanakkam. Welcome to Tapon Sandhya Sangam Zoom show on this Sunday, 8th of June 2025. This is our episode number 176, and we propose to develop more shows as we go along. Well, a simple and innocent game of dice led to a bloody war between two families, Pandavas and Kauravas. Duryodhana was smart enough to engage his uncle Shakuni to play on their behalf, while Yudhishthir offered to play on his own, and the rest is history. If only Yudhishthir opted to sponsor Krishna to play on their behalf, there would have been no war. But the fact is, there was a war, a bloody one. Well, there have been many characters in Mahabharata. Who has been the influence of the war? Well, the guest speaker joining us this evening from Chennai, Mr. Mohan Krishnan, says it was Bhishma. Why does he say so? Well, in a bit from now, he will explain to us why he says so, and he will also narrate the story of Bhishma to us. Welcome to the show, Krishnan Mohandas. Well, we begin the show as always with a prayer followed by the guest introduction. Then after the guest speaker takes over and on his completion, we will have an open session where we all can put our views, observation, comments, feedback, and even ask questions. The guest will be more than happy to answer. And finally, we'll wrap it up with a summary and vote of thanks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's kickstart the show. Coming up first is the prayer. Joining us from Mumbai is Mrs. Jivareka Prasad to sing the prayer for us. Jivareka, madam, kindly unmute your microphone, put on your camera, and go ahead.
नमस्कारम्
Wow.
गरुडगमन तव चरण कमलमिह मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा जलजनयन विधिनमुचिहरण मुख विभूत विनुत पद पद्मा विभूत विनुत पद पद्मा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा गरुडगमन तव चरण कमलमिह मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् भुजगशयन भव मदन जनक मम जनन मरण भय हारी जनन मरण भय हारी मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा चङ्कचक्रधर दुष्टदैत्यहर सर्वलोकशरणा सर्वलोकशरणा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा गरुडगमन तव चरण कमलमिह मनसि लसत् मम नित्यम् मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् अगणित गुणगण अशरण शरणद वितलित सुररिपुजाला वितलित सुररिपुजाला मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा मम तापमपाकुरुदेवा मम पापमपाकुरुदेवा गरुडगमन तव चरण कमलमिह मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् भक्तवर्यमिह भूरि करुणया पाहि भारती तीर्थम् पाहि भारती तीर्थम् भक्तवर्यमिह भूरि करुणया पाहि भारती तीर्थम् पाहि भारती तीर्थम् मम तापमपाकुरु देवा मम पापमपाकुरु देवा मम तापमपाकुरु देवा मम पापमपाकुरु देवा गरुडगमन तव चरणकमलमिह मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मनसि लसतु मम नित्यम् मम तापमपाकुरु देवा मम पापमपाकुरु देवा. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Jivareka Madam, for the wonderful rendition, one of my favorite songs. Thank you so much. And we move to the next segment of introducing the guest speaker. Well, Mohan needs no introduction. He has been with us a number of times. But then, for the benefit of new joiners this evening, introduction becomes necessary. Mrs. Uma Anantaramakrishnan has the details. Uma Madam, please go ahead.
Good evening to everybody in Tapovan Sandhya Sangam. There is no need for introduction of Mohan Krishnan sir. We have seen him in Zoom shows. Still, there is a formality, so I want to introduce him. Mohan Krishnan sir is a retired currency officer in Reserve Bank of India, presently settled in Chennai. He is a professional storyteller and happiness coach. His depth of knowledge in banking and economics helps in narrating stories from commerce and industry. Mohan Krishnan sir has had his spiritual education under learned masters. His grounding in the heritage of Bharat is strong and can narrate impactful stories from the heritage and from other cultures as well. Being a movie buff, he tells stories from and of the world of cellulite. Mohan Krishnan sir is also sings in old Hindi songs and as an avocation. He also conducts Bhagavad Gita sessions in online. Over to Mohan Krishnan sir.
Thank you, madam, for the wonderful introduction. And of course, having known Mohanda for many, many years, and we are just waiting for an episode of his, to unleash his vocal cords. That is one thing which is pending for a long time. Maybe he'll find out some time for that. It's now time for the guest speaker takeaway, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we'll have a mic in mute status so that we do not disrupt the speaker. On his company, we'll have an open session. Mohanda, the floor is all yours now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bandhugan. A typical Bandhugan greetings to all those who have their origins in Bengal. Bandhugan, so we say Bandhugan. So nice speaking to all of you. I'm honored to be in this forum. The story of Bhishma. There are a couple of riders which I would like to tell you in the beginning. We are not sitting on judgment. We're not here to say whether Bhishma is right or wrong. We are not going to say that it's more of a reflective. All of us, without exception, face challenges in life. Bhishma faced, Krishna faced, Rama faced. So आप और हम किस खेत के मूली हैं? We also face challenges. We take decisions. Decisions go wrong. Decisions go right. There are also situations when our own younger generation comes and tells you that your decision was wrong. Was your decision right? And there is a very beautiful verse in a poem by Kavi Pradeep. He says, Mukhda dekh le prani, aine mein mukhda dekh le prani. Look at your face in the mirror. Look at your reflection. So it's more of a reflective kind of thing, not sitting on judgment. A brief introduction to this amazing composition called MAHABHARATA. It's composed by Veda Vyasa. The telling of Mahabharata, the story, happened actually in the Sarpa Satra of Janamejaya. Janamejaya was the son of Parikshit, who was actually stung by a snake. And in anger, Janamejaya did a Sarpa Satra and he destroyed all the snakes that were at that time available in the entire Srishti. And during that Sarpa Satra, every evening there used to be a Katha Kalakshemam or an Upanyasa. And one of the descendants of Vedavyasa called Vaishampayana narrated the story of Mahabharata as it is known today. That's why in very many places you will sing Vaishampayana Uvacha. Even Vishnu Sahasranama starts Shrutva Dharmana Aseshena Dharmana Shrutva. So Vaishampayana Uvacha comes at very many. He's the one who narrated it. And the Mahabharata which you and I know, we owe it to B.R. Chopra than anybody else. That serial. And I owe my Mahabharata knowledge to Amar Chitrakatha 152 comic strips, which every Indian should maintain at home. That's how we can introduce this amazing text to the next generation. The translation of Mahabharata is usually, they call it as a, mythology, epic. No. We have to be very clear, it is itihasa. Itihasa means history. Itihasa, it so happened. We also have to remember that it is an Amara Kavya. It's an immortal poem. So, historical facts composed by the poet with his glorious poetic brilliance, and that's Mahabharata. Did it exactly happen like that? Perhaps not. But did it happen? Certainly yes. Okay, that's how we have to look at Mahabharata. Yesterday when I asked a few people to join, some said, "Isse kya fayda hai?" I didn't feel like motivating them any further. What else is mein kya fayda hai? I don't know. I found a lot of meaning by going through all this. But if somebody says kya fayda hai, it's after all a story. Fine, I have no problems at all. So let's go into the story. The whole thing started when the king of Hastinapura, Shantanu, in one of his forays into the jungle, met an extremely beautiful maiden. Her name was Ganga. And he couldn't stop asking, "Will you be mine? Kya mujhse shaadi karoge?" He says, I am a Raja of Hastinapura. I've got all the glory that you can think of. Will you be mine? And Ganga said, yes, subject to some conditions. Now, what these conditions are and all these things will be a subject matter of another talk which is coming towards the end of this month at Theosophical Society. It's a face-to-face talk where I'm going to talk on management lessons from the Mahabharata, straight from Shantanu's decision. In fact, the talk should be management non-lessons, how not to take decisions. Perhaps that should be the subject matter. So that will be coming much later. But today we are going into this decision that Ganga laid down some conditions. Shantanu accepted those conditions unconditionally. And the conditions were, whatever I do, you will not question me. And they married. And each child that was born, Ganga used to throw it into the river. A newborn child, she used to throw it in the river, and it pained Shantanu. And at one point of time, and then she had said that if you ask me why, I'll go back to my loka. She's an Apsara from another loka. She said, I'll return to my, nice song, na? मैं मायके चली जाऊंगी. सवाल किया तो मैं मायके चली जाऊंगी, तुम देखते रहियो. So he was afraid to ask questions. But then one day he did ask the question. What the hell is going on? And he also called her a heartless woman. She said, you had kept quiet for so long. Had you kept quiet for some more time, there would have been no further problems. Because she says the children which were so far sacrificed into the river were all the Vasus. They all had limited time to have taken birth into the human yoni, and they had a short life. Their prarabdha had to be extinguished through my hands. That was what I was doing. And if you only had kept quiet, this last one would have been ours, and we could have ruled this country together for a long time. And she said, but as per the condition, I have to leave. She left for her other loka with the child that was born, which was a son. She said, the right time, this child will come back to you. This child came to be called Bhishma. What the name of the child was at the beginning, it is not told to us at all. So 18, 19 years passed. One day, I think Shantanu's jungle foray didn't stop at all. He went into the jungle very often. We all go into corporate jungles, he went into his jungle. So he never stopped into his jungle forays. He went into his jungle foray, and he went to the same river where he found Ganga. Okay, perhaps he must have sung a song. If Mukesh had been there, he would have sung a song, Teri yaad dil se bhulane chala. He would have sung that song perhaps. I don't know. Let's add a touch of humor. It's not in Mahabharata written by Veda Vyasa. It's in my narrative. Okay. So he used to go to that place, and one day he found that the flow of the river, someone had made the river water flow upstream. River water flows downstream, but someone had dammed it and made the river water flow upstream. He wanted to look at what was the proficiency which made the river water flow upstream. He found that there was a dam of arrows, and another set of arrows were pushing the raging Ganga upwards. And he found a young boy there. So he asked him, who are you? He said, I am Ganga Putra. My name is Devavrata. My mother has named me Devavrata. At that time, Shantanu realized that Ganga Putra is Shantanu Putra as well. Okay, we have to understand something very beautiful here from our cultural Vedic heritage. See, these days, there are a lot of people, no reflection on the gender. Women in particular, they love to say it's all patriarchal. I should ensure Sabarimala. It's patriarchal. All men's laws. Okay. But even Mahabharata, we had we didn't have patriarchal, it was matriarchal. Bhishma introduced himself as Ganga Putra Devavrata, not Shantanu Putra. So we have to understand that this is a unique culture where the mother is as much important, in fact more important even than the father at some points of time. In the Bhagavad Gita, at very many points of time, Krishna refers to Arjuna as Hey Partha, Hey Kaunteya. Kaunteya is Kunti's son, Parthaya is Pritha's son. He addresses her by her mother's name. So this patriarchy, matriarchy, all these are like jokes come from the West who have nothing else to do but criticize the Vedic heritage. So he says Ganga Putra. Then he says, has your mother given you some orders? So Ganga Putra, Devavrata says, yes. My mother has said, my father would come looking for me, and I'm happy you have come looking for me. Anything else? She said, no. She is not coming back. She might perhaps come back into my life sometime, but she's not coming back into your life anymore. We have to live our life together. So Devavrata was escorted to the palace, and he was taught, there's very little he need to be taught, because he was an amazing archer. He was a great sportsman. His mother had taught him everything. And he was a wrestler. He was expert in statecraft, all by the age of 18, 19. He was an expert in statecraft. He was simply amazing, simply an amazing person. And he also had a very fine knowledge of Dharma Shastra. He was a bhakta, an upasaka, a person, a very accomplished Purusha, really an accomplished Purusha. That was Bhishma. He didn't have the Bhishma title till then. And life was going on smooth. And once more, Shantanu, one of his forays into the jungle, he met one more lady there. Her name was Matsyagandha. She had become Satyavati. And she met, and our Shantanu met Matsyagandha, alias Satyavati, and said, once again, the same old dialogue. Kya mujhse shaadi karogi? Will you marry me? This time, the Satyavati didn't say anything. Her father put in a lot of conditions. He was saying, now, nurse ने कुछ नहीं कहा, डॉक्टर को खल गई. That Satyavati ने कुछ नहीं कहा, उसकी बाप को खल गई. So that fellow put in a lot of conditions. What were the conditions? He said, if you marry Satyavati, children are born to Satyavati, they should be crowned king. And not your existing Yuvaraja, Devavrata. Devavrata should not be crowned king. But he is already a Yuvaraja. He is already a crowned prince. And once you have crowned somebody prince, you can't take the title away. Okay. So he is already crowned king. And Shantanu was a person who followed Dharma. He said, I am afraid I will have to sacrifice my personal life. So I can't accept your conditions. And he left for the royal palace. But love-lorn fellows, never find peace. Zindagi mein kuch bhi karo, yaar pyar mat karo. That's what they say. Otherwise, you'll keep pining for your love. Pyar mat karo. That's what they say. I'm not saying. Wahan wo bolta hai, Shantanu bolta hai. Pyar mat karo. Well, he again started singing. Teri yaad dil se bulane chal. Okay, the fellow was pining. It was not lost on the son, because the father's otherwise cheerful demeanor showed sadness. And when he played the veena, the ragas were all sad. All melancholic ragas he was playing. And he was playing all those. And there was a pall of gloom about the father. And he perhaps did not concentrate hard enough on statecraft. So that as Bhishma asked, Devavrata asked his father. Father said, nothing, forget it. He didn't say anything at all. But then the courtiers and the scholars who were with the father, they called Devavrata aside and said, your father is in love. He met Satyavati, and there are some conditions imposed by Satyavati's father, which your father has not thought it fit to share with us. And therefore he is not able to accept those conditions. Therefore, he is decided not to go ahead with that alliance. And then he is also not able to forget that woman. So this is his condition. So Devavrata took out his chariot and went straight to that tribesman. Went to Satyavati and said, Mata, I have brought the chariot for you. Please board and become my mother. Marry my father and become my mother. Whatever conditions you impose, I will accept. So she said, these conditions are not mine. These conditions are imposed by my father. So he was a tribal chieftain. So he said, condition number 1. The children born of Satyavati and Shantanu should rule, not you. Your father refused to accept this condition. Therefore, the alliances cannot go through. And your father is right, because according to the Dharma Shastra, a prince who is crowned, one who is crowned a prince uh, can be removed from that position only on death, or he should be sent on exile, like it happened in Ramayana. You send him on exile, then you can crown another person. He said, your father has no cause to send you on exile, and I don't see you dying in the near future. You have a very long life. You are such a strong, able person. Therefore, condition number 1 is not fulfilled. So, Devavrata said, I forsake, I abdicate my position. See, there was a British king who abdicated because he wanted to marry somebody else. Okay. I think King George V. Yeah, I think one of them. He abdicated because he wanted to marry a commoner. That's why the other king came, and then the Elizabeth family came. But here, the son abdicates because he wants a father to marry. And he says, yeah, okay, so problem solved? No, that fellow, the tribal chieftain was quite a guy. Whatever, bada buddhiman. He said, look, it is okay. You have abdicated. But what about your children? You will marry, you will have sons. Like, for instance, I have some property. I say I don't want a share in the property, but my children can always claim a share in the property. Co-parceners, they all go down. And my grandchildren can claim. So in original family property, everybody has a share. He said all of them have to give no objection. So Bhishma said, "Arey, no objection ki kya baat hai? I take one more vow. That vow is, I will not marry." Now comes the most powerful vow. He says, you may always say, I may not marry, but I may end up having a liaison and have children. Therefore, I take another vow, I will remain a Naishtika Brahmachari. It's an amazing vow. Naishtika Brahmachari means the vow of Brahmacharya, the relationship with the woman will be that of a mother alone. I will look at all women only as my mother. Such a person is called Naishtika Brahmachari. He took the vow of Naishtika Brahmacharya, and when this vow was taken, the gods, the devatas were watching. It always happens, when brilliant fellows play, everybody watches. When Tendulkar comes to play, all of us watch. Even Virat Kohli comes to play, all of us watch. Hey, now he's Sinner and what's his name? I don't like the name Sinner. Sinner and Alcaraz are playing and everybody is watching. So when Yodhas are performing, when Yodhas speak, when people like that speak, everybody watches. So when Bhishma was speaking, the entire Devaloka, Asura Loka, everybody was watching, and all of them rained blessings on him. And he was given the title Bhishma. Bhishma means one who has taken the terrible vow. Wow. And one who takes the vow and he will not go back on that vow. So he was called Bhishma. That was the title. So then he told Satyavati, hey Mate, please board the Ratha, and he drove her gloriously to this palace at Hastinapura. And Shantanu was happy and sad. He was happy because he could marry someone of his choice. He was sad because the son who he really wanted to rule will not be able to rule. Will he find a capable ruler as capable as Devavrata? That was his thought. And he made one more vow to his father. He said, Papa, you don't worry, because now I know you are worried. Whether you think I am capable, and whether any other ruler will be as capable. He says, I am going to make one more vow. Whoever is on the seat in Hastinapura, I will be behind him. And the father gives the son a boon, a var. That var is, you will have Ichha Mrityu. You will die only when you want to die. Till such time, no, you are not invulnerable. You have to remember that. Okay? You are not invulnerable, but death is in your hands. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. And he was given this boon, Vara. Everything settled down beautifully. Satyavati had two lovely sons. And Shantanu's time was over. Shantanu left, leaving behind Satyavati and two sons. One of the sons, the elder, got into some fracas with a Gandharva and died in that accident. वो कहीं riot में participate करिया वो soda bottle लग के मर गया. Sorry to use this. He got into a fracas with a Gandharva and perished. Okay. The other son survived. Other son was capable. But see, sometimes nothing grows under a banyan tree. One has to remember. Nothing grows under a banyan tree. So if you are a mentor, an all-powerful mentor, there is very little scope for the second generation or people, your siblings, to grow that well. So the younger brother, the stepbrother of Bhishma, grew up under the shadow of Bhishma. He was a very capable fellow. It is a very capable fellow. Like for instance, let's say the son of S.P. Balasubramaniam goes to sing somewhere. What will they say? Oh, S.P. Balasubramaniam son. They will never say your name is what, Charan. Sai Charan or something is his name. Though you are S.P. Balasubramaniam son. Same thing happens to Vijay Jesdas. None of Muhammad Rafi's sons shown. Where are these M.K. Gandhi's sons? So when you have a shining star, the other stars get dimmed in the process. And their glory never shines. So we will not call it a mistake or a decision. Now comes a decision. A very important decision. Satyavati says, it is time for your brother to marry. He says, fine, what should I do? A king in a nearby country is holding a Swayamvara. You should encourage your brother to go there. She didn't say even all this. She only said a king nearby is holding a Swayamvara. So what did Bhishma do? Like it happens. Suppose there is a younger fellow brother in me, for whom I have taken responsibility. I may be the one who may look through all these matrimonial, Tamil matrimony, Hindi matrimony. I may look at all that. So our Bhishma went one step further. He took a ratha and landed at that king's darbar. He needed one bride. He brought all three brides. Think. What respect will a woman have for a husband on whose behalf the brother came and abducted all of them and went? What respect will she have for the husband? The jet is more powerful than my husband. This was realized by the elder queen, the elder princess Amba. She said, I am in love with another person. And tell me, what does your dharma do? Say. He said, the dharma says I should let you go to marry him. So Bhishma said, Bhishma was very used. See, the person knew dharma, yet he did not know dharma. Then a lady asked that I am in love with somebody else, what does dharma say? He said, go to that man. As a person seeking alliance for his brother in a Swayamvara, is it right for this person to pick up all the three queens and come by himself? Shouldn't he have asked his brother to sit in the chariot? He could have been a chariot. He didn't even take his brother along. And all three queens he brought. So then when Amba said, he said, Amba, okay. He said, you go marry the guy. So she went in search of that person, and that person said no. एक बार, what was the dialogue? शोले, मर गया तो समझो डर गया, डर गया तो समझो मर गया. That dialogue. He said, एक बार किसी ने आपको abduct कर लिया, तो I will not touch you. He says, there is something, you can try it sometime. The deer. Why is the deer skin so valuable? The heron. The heron will not touch food smelled by any other animal. You can try. Go to the deer enclosure in any zoo, peel a plantain or whatever. Don't lick it, just smell it and throw it into the enclosure. The heron will smell it and walk away. It won't touch it. That's why we say deer skin love bhai. So pure stands for purity. When I do meditation, when I do dhyanam, I am supposed to be pure in the mind. I am supposed to sit on a deer skin. Okay? So he said, I am like a deer. Somebody have you seen the crows? You touch one crow, all other, and then leave it. All other crows will come and kill that crow. The crows will not let another crow be touched by a human. Not just a crow, any other bird. There are so many fellows selling parrots on the road. You pick one parrot and throw it on the road. The crows will come and kill that parrot. Try with a myna, a sparrow. They attack. Human touch means these birds will come and kill. So I come from such a culture, having been abducted. You have been abducted by somebody. I will not even look at you. Forgive me. So Amba comes back to Bhishma. She says, what's your dharma? That fellow has rejected me. You have abducted me. Now you marry me. See, all your decisions have consequences. Whatever decision you take has its consequence. He had taken a decision of Naishtika Brahmacharya. A Naishtika Brahmacharya is not a joke, okay? We have acharyas who take Brahmacharya Vratam. Not only is their thought process monitored, their diet is also monitored so that even physical reactions do not happen. You are on a diet so that any kind of kama vasana does not come out of you. So being a Naishtika Brahmachari from teenage to somewhere in his early 30s, 15 years of Naishtika Brahmacharya will also kill your sensuality. No testosterone from your system. So this being the case, he said, I am afraid I can't marry. He can't say I am not physically capable. He said, I have taken a Naishtika Brahmacharya Vratam. I cannot do it. Now comes the first blow to Bhishma. She commits self-immolation. She said, I was living happily in my father's house. I told my father that somebody else will come in the Swayamvara and I will do Varmala, I will live happily. You abducted me. You prevented me from marrying that person. You also refused to marry me. Now what is my life? मैं तो ना यहाँ यही ना इधर की ना उधर की मैं तो बीच वाली हो गई. Therefore I commit self-immolation. She was born as a transgender. Karma. And she took a vow. I will be the cause of your death. Then she was reminded that he can die only out. She said, no, understand that I will not be able to kill him. But I will be the cause of his fall in a battlefield. Not in an ordinary idhar-udhar raste. Bhishma is a Kshatriya, Devavrata. Such a person, in a battlefield, I will defeat him and cause his fall. So Amba committed self-immolation. We will come to that episode much later. Okay? For Bhishma's story alone, I need a long time. Okay, just imagine telling you the story of Mahabharata. I may perhaps need a whole year. I can tell you the story of the entire Mahabharata. But that may take a long time. We'll have it in due course. Okay, Bhishma story alone. Now cut. Let's go a little further. Now the two other queens, Amba was gone. Ambika and Ambalika, the two other princes, they married the younger brother, step brother of Bhishma. Unfortunately, that fellow died before he could impregnate these two women. Now there is a dharma, Raja Dharma. The Rajya cannot be without a successor. You have to name a successor. So Satyavati says, all other your what do you call competitors for the throne are gone. Therefore, you now crown yourself king. You can crown yourself king. He said, no. Then what I said, I have given up my right for being crowned. I have abdicated. Having abdicated, I can never come back. This is all dharma. See, when we study, see, there is something called jurisprudence. Okay? Now, what is higher than the law of the land? There is a law, an established legal framework. Is there something higher than the law? Okay, in ancient times there was, that is called dharma. The law itself was based on dharma. We need dharma acharyas who would explain dharma to people. So there was dharma. So according to dharma, having abdicated, I cannot get re-elected. I can't come back. So therefore, we have to look for some other king. What was the dharma? The dharma was, there was something called Garbhadan. An accomplished scholar or a warrior or somebody could impregnate the widows of the queens so that they give birth to progeny. And the mother said, "Theek hai, don't be Raja, you marry them or impregnate." He said, "I am afraid that also is not possible because I have taken the vow of Naishtika Brahmacharya." Satyavati had no other option but to call upon her eldest son Vedavyasa. So Vedavyasa came, and that part of the story is not directly connected to Bhishma. So three children were the first opportunity was given to Amba. She was when she looked at Vedavyasa, she was so terrified that she closed her eyes. Dhritarashtra was born blind. At the time of impregnation, she closed her eyes. The second one, Ambalika. Ambalika turned pale with fright when she saw Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa was not a terrible looking guy, but he was in Ghor Tapasya and he was asked to do a different role. He said, "Give me some time so that I take a Saumya Rupa and come. At least let me shave off all those so many years of whiskers and come." This is one culture in the Hindu Dharma. On the day of your wedding, one is supposed to shave the head except for a tuft and dadi wadi and things like that. These days, guys are getting married with dadi. Then Vedavyasa said, "I'm not supposed to get married with dadi and all. Let me shave and come." She didn't even give him time for shaving. And Ambalika got scared and became pale in fear. Pale during fear, you had this person born, Pandu. Pandu was pale, sickly, anemic child. And when Satyavati saw these two persons, she said, "Give a third chance." And this time Ambika tricked. She thought she tricked Vedavyasa and sent her maid. The maid served Vedavyasa well. So a very Sishta Purusha was born. Vidura, Sishta Purusha, Buddhiman was born. But from a status who cannot become king. The maid's son cannot become king. Hey, that's a law. That's a dharma. In Mughal-e-Azam, just the Akbar says, na, "Khaniz Malikaye Hindustan ban nahi sakti." Remember the dialogue? Slave cannot become the queen. The law is exactly the same. So change nahi hua. Malikaye Hindustan ki jagah ek Malika hone chahiye, koi Khaniz nahi. That's the dialogue. Remember? I don't know whether Akbar spoke like that, but Prithviraj Kapoor spoke like that. So, the son of a Kaniz, son of a slave, okay, cannot become the king. Sorry, excuse me. I've got a huge sneeze coming because of smoke. Excuse me. Yeah. So, he was not allowed to be king, but being a wise man, he was advised. Then they said the firstborn, Dhritarashtra, should be king. And Bhishma said, yes, he should be king. Now comes Vidura Niti. He says a person who cannot defend himself even against a mosquito cannot be king. Hey, what protection he will give to the subjects? One should be able to take care of himself. Shastra, Dharma Shastra. Only then he can be king. That Dharma Shastra rule is followed even today. For you to be in certain important position in banks, governments, and all these places, there will be one condition. You have to certify that you are free from any bodily or mental ailment that interferes with your work. That's a condition. Yeah, I could not appear for IAS exam because I am a poor victim of polio. They said you are not eligible to even appear for the exam. Some other organization took me in and I became fairly high. That's a different thing. But there is a position. Dhritarashtra, being visually challenged, was not eligible to be king. So Pandu was crowned king and he was happy. All these were happy. Now, because of some mistake that Pandu did, Pandu went into an exile. He handed over caretaker government to his elder brother and went into an exile. And in the exile, during the exile, 5 children were born. At the same time, Dhritarashtra's wife Gandhari, before we go there, I will come to the Gandhari episode. Dhritarashtra's wife Gandhari also conceived, but Yudhishthira was born first. Therefore, they all announced that Yudhishthira will be the crown prince. Now, before this, let's go a step backward. When they were looking for brides for the second generation, brothers, children, for his nephews, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Now, Pandu, apart from his little bit of anemia, was otherwise a healthy looking and a very smart looking fellow and a good warrior as well. And he approached the Raja, father of Kunti, and they readily agreed for the wedding. So it happened very beautifully. And during the course of that, he also met Madri from Madri Desha. Madri Desha is from what is today's Egypt. So Madri Desha. So he got 2 queens. Now Dhritarashtra, see, there is always a problem. If you are physically challenged, if you are visually challenged, or if you have any kind of disability, a marriage market में आपका value कम हो जाता है. It's a fact. Okay, you can't marry a person of your choice. These things happen. Okay, if the fellow falls in love, you will end up getting rejected and all. These are ways of the world. It happened in Mahabharata's time too. And Dhritarashtra, and Bhishma had to get into the fray. So he went to Gandhar Naresh. Went to Gandhar. Gandhar is what is Afghanistan today. In Sanskrit, Afghanistan is referred to as Avagamana Sthana. That's how you come into this Bharata Varsha. There are 2 passes through which you come into Bharata Varsha. It's called Avagamana Sthana, entry point. So he went into Afghanistan, Gandhar, and he met the Raja. And he said, I have come with a proposal for my nephew Dhritarashtra. Now that king was a very very small king. And Bhishma went to him with an offer that you cannot refuse. Have you read the book Godfather? I am going to make you an offer that you cannot refuse. What's the offer? Either sell your house or I shoot you in the brains. That's a kind of an offer. You better do what I say or I shoot you down. It happened even in Tamil Nadu for some time. There were also instances like that. Okay. So he made an offer that you cannot refuse. Hey, this Gandhar was a small kingdom and see, you are going to seek alliance for your brother. Na brother nahi, nephew. How will you go to seek an alliance? Will you go wearing an armor and weapons in hand? And with an army? What is the culture in our culture? You take a shagun. No? In South Indian culture, you will have plantain, apples, and then you will have sugar, flowers. All this you will take. In North, they take and then wrap it in red. People will be finely dressed. They will go sing bhajans and sing songs and go. This fellow goes seeking alliance with an army. And he says, announce that Bhishma has come. And this Gandhar fellow is a tiny mosquito. He would be crushed. So he was so nervous. He didn't know what to reply. He said, I have come with an alliance for Hastinapur has come with an alliance for the prince of Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra. Shakuni was deadly against it. He said, Papa, let's fight to death, but we will not agree. But then Gandhari, she said no. She said, I will not let my kingdom perish. So she agreed to marry Dhritarashtra. She said, I am consenting. And the marriage was held. Okay. There is a small problem here which we have to really understand. A little bit of psychology which I will be handling in the session on Wednesday. I'll announce that session. You can attend that session. Dhritarashtra is born blind. The children need eye contact for growing up properly. Father cannot see. Mother chooses not to see. She bound her eyes. Hey, what kind of children will grow up? Only 100 times evil children will grow up. The children need eye contact. When a child does something wrong, the mother only needs to look into the child's eye and the child will correct itself. The children were deprived of the father and mother's attention. That's one part of the story. And these children grew up and there were a lot of problems. Bhishma was aware of what was going on. At no point of time did he try to correct any of these people. Then came the most important situation where the Pandavas were sent away to a place for a holiday and the Lakh Palace was burned down. And Vidura told there is no need to announce another Yuvaraja. Let's wait for some time. Bhishma said, no. A kingdom cannot be without a Yuvaraja because he had some kind of evidence to prove that 5 men and 1 lady died in that fire accident. Actually, it was some other couple some other family who had come to rest in the Lakh Palace. Their bodies were found. They didn't even properly do identification of the dead bodies. They assumed it was Pandavas and crowned this person, Duryodhana, as a king, as a crown prince. But then because of Draupadi's Swayamvara, these brothers came to the court. At that point, that's why Vidura said to Bhishma, he said, hey, grand uncle, I told you wait. What was the hurry? You were in a hurry to take that oath of Naishtika Brahmacharya. You were in a hurry to get your father married. You were in a hurry to do Swayamvara for your brothers. All along your decisions have gone wrong, including crowning this fellow king, prince. You have sowed the seeds of a great problem. But then being an elder brother, he couldn't argue very strongly. So he said, let's do one thing, let's divide, partition of the land. When the partition of the land was done, the Pandavas were given the worst possible deal. Khandava Pradesh. Khandava Pradesh means undeveloped land. And who sat in, who was the fellow who was there? There's a committee which should have given, no? When partition was taking place, there was a committee. One elderly man was there who used to go for fasting for every little drop of a hat. And that fellow had some say, no? This fellow had some say. Shouldn't he have said, the great decision maker, Bhishma, Pitamaha, grandfather, shouldn't he have had a say that don't give them Khandwa Pradesh? Give them 50% underdeveloped land, give them 50% developed land. But he was quiet all along. Where you are supposed to speak, you are supposed to speak. And the Khandwa Pradesh was given thanks to a character called Sri Krishna. We will have an exclusive session on Sri Krishna sometime. Sri Krishna, I need to take it for Navaratri. 9 days I used to take. I have to take. We'll during maybe in that when this Chaturmasya Vrata starts, we will do a session on Krishna. Krishna, the real hero. The real hero of Mahabharata is Arjuna and Krishna. We will see that sometime. Okay, so thanks to Krishna, Khandva Pradesh was turned into Indraprastha. And the day it started doing well, jealousy started. Humko ye land chahiye. One division, okay, you have taken and gone. You still want something from a cut from my land? You want a piece of my land? And this should have been cut off ab initio. And then they said, how to get it out? Bhishma would not come for a war. Unprovoked war, he wouldn't come. So you have to make a war. So they went into, that's when Shakuni comes in and they have a game of dice. Loaded dice. We will do how the dice and all in Krishna's episode, we will see what went wrong and what did not go wrong. The game of dice was introduced. And Duryodhana's condition was, I will give the stakes, Mama will throw the dice. Yudhishthira says, agreed. Now this follows a match referee, okay? Can the match referee agree for those conditions? India will bat with one hand tied behind the back. Okay? And all your right-handers will play with left hand, left-handed will play with right hand. You are not supposed to bowl fast. Can you agree for those conditions? And can the match referee agree for this? And Bhishma stayed quiet. And when they are gambling, they know the whole game is cheating is going on. This fellow looks away but never ever stops. What is wrong? Then comes the worst episode in the entire Mahabharata. Draupadi Vastraharana. Bhishma tells to Dhritarashtra, stop it. Hey, why the hell didn't you stop it? If only you had stood up. If you have said you will stand behind Hastinapura throne, but did you ever think that Hastinapura throne could do adharma? Willy-nilly you have committed yourself to adharma. What stopped him from standing up and said, Nari humiliation I will not accept? See, if you don't get angry for the right thing at the right time, you are condemned. A weak fellow called Jatayu took upon Ravana. He said, I will not let you do adharma in this land. Hey, that is Bharata Varsha Bhumi. In this land, I will not let you do adharma to a woman. Jatayu fought and died. But he would not let, he said, as long as I am alive, I would not let you carry away a woman from here. And it stayed. And here was a fellow who looked away. He said, Raya, Maharaj, you do something. Hey, what stops you from doing? Somebody is being humiliated on the streets. Will you call the police and then run and shut your door? Because I will be called as a witness sometime. Not being able to get angry for the right time, for the right thing, right cause. And when those people come back and claim their share, Duryodhana says, according to this Panchanga, I detected them one day early. Hey, what stopped Bhishma from saying, let's consult the scholars? There are so many astrologers in the camp, in our Rajya. Let's take a view. Here also he pleads, Maharaj, you do something. Helpless. At least he would have said, I will not fight this war. Rukmi said he will not fight the war. Balarama said he will not fight the war. Krishna said, I will not fight, I will drive a chariot. Bhishma could have also said, I am old, I am retired, I will not fight, I will give you advice. On dharma, I will not fight. He makes a stupid vow. I will not kill the Pandavas, but I will kill the soldiers. Hey, what kind of vow is that? I will crush mosquitoes And he knew he had lost the war, and then he prevented Karna from fighting. Now comes the episode where the karma payback starts. Hey, whatever you do, there is no running away from karma. The wrong, the adharma that he did to Amba comes back. She died neither here nor there. She comes as a king from the Panchal kingdom as a transgender fighting a war. Hey, India had transgender fighting wars long ago. Itihasa times. She came as a transgender fighting the war. And you can't pit your banes against Krishna. You may be a Naishtika Brahmachari. You may have Ichha Mrityu Vara. But I am Krishna, remember. That's what he said. And he said, let's attack Bhishma on his sense of dharma itself. Yudhishthira, you please go ask Bhishma how to defeat you. He will give you ideas. Because having asked Bhishma, couldn't say no. He said, my hands are down. When I am not holding an arrow, you can hit me. And how can you make him not hold an arrow in hand? Put a transgender in front. As a Kshatriya, he won't shoot her. And he told Arjun, Piche se maro. He said, is it okay to hit such a great person from behind? He says he may be a great person, no doubt about it. But he stands on the side of adharma. Sorry, you used a strong language. He said, Maro sale ko. Yehi mauka hai. Because he has stood. All his punya was wiped out in that one adharma of watching a Nari humiliation. All his punya karma was washed out. He not only watched it, and he took up arms on behalf of the party who did that. That one, and then, the fellow had Ichha Mrityu. When Nari was being humiliated, at least you would have said, Abhi marne do humko. Let me die now, rather than watch all this. At least you would have been better off. He waited for some Uttarayana, some rubbish. Not doing punya all your life, you wait for some change of time. And how did that Papa Karma take its toll? He was on ICU, fed by tubes for so long, even water had to be fed into his mouth. And then he came and spoke about this dharma, that dharma. Draupadi laughed. He said, "Arey jeete ji, aapne kuch karni nahi kiya, aap marte waqt lecture dete ho, huh?" So remember, we are not criticizing Bhishma, but even a Bhishma, when you don't take decisions properly, you get criticized by people. And then in the Uttarayana Punya Kala, he gave up his life. So this is not standing on judgment on Bhishma's life. This is looking at Bhishma, an adamantine person. An adamantine person, so adamant that the sense of dharma got clouded. He was Krishna. Krishna was his friend. Hey, couldn't he have sought Krishna's counsel? Krishna is supposed to have told him. Krishna used to address him as Pitama. Hey, Bhagwan addresses you as grandfather, and he holds you as a Param Yodha. And he says, nobody can defeat you, Bhishma, therefore I take up the chakra to kill you. He took it up. When he found that Arjuna could not fire the arrows, Krishna took up the chakra. He took a broken chariot wheel. He said, I will wield this as a chakra to make Arjun fight. Imagine that was the closeness Bhishma enjoyed with Krishna. Could he have asked Krishna for advice? This is what happens. If you get into this adamant, stubborn attitude, you will say, nobody above me, nobody can decide what I should do. Nobody can decide. I can do whatever I like, whoever I may be. Is it right? There is a sense of dharma. So Bhishma stands as an icon. Proficiency, scholarship, articulation, Yodha, warrior, earned the respect of everybody, but could not stop bloodshed because of an adamantine attitude and an unwillingness to listen to counsel. So not sitting on judgment, it's a reflection on our own lives. Are we inclined to get into these positions? Okay, as we grow older, children become smarter. They have a lot of knowledge. So children do advise us. Forget children, grandchildren advise us. Nay, friends advise us. More importantly, our spouses advise us. Are we so adamant? I have done so much for this family, nobody cares for me. Yeah, then the lot could be an ICU, where you alone hold the power to switch off the support systems. And this fellow did not know how to switch off the support systems. At least I would say give somebody else the power to switch off the support system. So this was a reflection on Bhishma's life. Devavrata Ganga Purutra alias Bhishma. So much to know. A great scholar, no doubt. The Vishnu Sahasranama came from him. The question, Kimekam Daivatam Loke. It's such a powerful verse there. Hey, who's the Deva of this? There are verses in the Vishnu Sahasranama which are glorifying verses, which are Vedantic verses. A whole Vishnu Sahasranama can be a subject matter of a talk. So this is Bhishma. This is life for you all, for all of us to reflect. Om Namah Shivaya. Bhole Shankar. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tapovan.
Mohan. It was one awesome presentation. Excellent research work done by you. I mean, I have been visualizing Mukesh Khanna all along, the role of Bhishma, who plays the role of Bhishma in Mahabharata. We have not seen Bhishma, but we have seen Mukesh Khanna do the role in Mahabharata. It's an excellent presentation. I really wish we all of us had the boon that Shantanu gave to Bhishma. You die at your own will. Anyway, let's listen to what others have got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an open session. Over to the mic, unmute Produce Solungo, please. Balan sir, you can start.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mohan, within a time of 1 hour, the full Bhishma story you have narrated. So beautifully you have narrated. And another thing is, you have to learn a lot from this Mahabharata, especially Bhishma. So only I am not able to tell you the entire thing. At least from your narration, I could at least 2-3 things which one thing I have learned today.
Okay.
That is, one is regarding this deer skin.
Okay.
I was always wondering, many sages, they used to do meditation on deer skin. Why? Why the question? That answer, it came from you today.
Om Namah Shivaya.
That is because of the purity you said, you know. And it was so, I was not knowing that the deer does not touch a food which has just even smelled by somebody.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. I have learned one thing. Then another thing I have noted from your story is the story of Jatayu.
Ah.
Ramayana. See, I know Ramayana, Jatayu fought with Ravana, and everybody knows Jatayu was killed by Ravana. But the reason is, I don't want to happen adharma taking place in the Bharata Varsha, Bharata Bhumi. That shows the greatness of the Bharat, land of Bharat.
Yeah.
And how the bird has fought with the Ravana and sacrificed his life for keeping dharma. That is one thing. So 2 things. The third thing which I said is, like Vidura has told, any hasty decision taken, that is a story for our life also, management, everywhere when you are career also. Any decision taken hastily will end up in disaster.
Oh, beautiful.
That's
Yeah,
a great thing.
Keep this in mind when you are buying anything on Amazon.
That's right. Then the third one I wanted to tell you, that you told me, from our generation, next generation, the forthcoming generation, we have to be flexible. Flexible. See, on a river bank, a tree stands, and also this grasses also stands. When the river flows with high force, the grass is flexible, it aligns with the flow of water and survives. Whereas the tree, mighty tree, it says, I am the tree, I have the strength. But what happens? The force of the flood, the water, just drags the earth behind the tree and the giant tree falls. So thank you. These are some of the things. I know very well that how much difficulty it is to compress the entire Mahabharata Bhishma story to small this one in 1 hour and do. You did a wonderful work. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Subbaraman, for arranging this. Thank you.
Okay, next, Jayalakshmi Madam.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Thank you so much. And it's so engrossing. And Mohan sir is an amazing storyteller. The way he has developed the story, I really got goosebumps, listening to him. It's so beautifully he has narrated. And thanks to you and Mr. Balan, you have already told the main points and all. One thing which I didn't know, that was, I didn't know that Bhishma was, Ganga sends him when he is little grown up. I didn't know that. I thought he was taken care by his father only. So even Shantanu was responsible for the Mahabharata, I feel. And it's amazing story. And Mohan sir, thanks a ton for narrating it so beautifully. Thanks for arranging this session, sir. It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm blessed.
Yes.
Good
Jayalakshmi
evening,
Madam.
sir. Good evening, sir. Sir, we are in Kali Yuga now. We are blaming the present condition that there is no value and we are not following the values. And but even in those days, when you hear such epics, in those days also there were evil-minded people, and they end up in miserable conditions. These are the epics told us to correct ourselves and improve our values. But due to ajnanam, we are not following that. And it's better to follow those values and the lessons taught and improve ourselves for the sake of the world. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
Jivareka Madam.
நமஸ்காரம். ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது உங்களோட இது. ஆக்சுவலா நம்மலாம் நினைக்கிறோம் நம்ம எப்படியா இருந்தோ அந்த கண்டிஷன் இந்த கண்டிஷன் போட்டு நம்ம குழந்தைகளோட வாழ்க்கையை அப்படியே இதுல வச்சிடணும் அப்படின்னுட்டு. ஆனா நம்ம நினைக்கிறதெல்லாம் நம்ம நியாயமா நினைக்கும் போதுதான் ஓரளவுக்கு அவங்கள எல்லாம் வைக்க முடியும். நம்ம ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தி ப்ரொடெக்ஷன் கொடுத்து அவங்களுக்கோசரம் நம்ம இந்த மாதிரி கண்டிஷன்லாம் போட்டா என்ன நிலைமை ஆகுங்கிறது நீங்க ரொம்ப நல்லா இந்த மச்சகந்தியோட அப்பா போட்ட கண்டிஷன் துவாரமா சொன்னீங்க. ரொம்ப நிறைய தடவை கேட்டாலும் உங்க மூலமா கேட்டது இன்னும் ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது. பூரா மகாபாரத்தையே மறுபடியும் ஒரு தரம் ரிகலெக்ட் பண்ண மாதிரி இருந்தது. ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ் சார். உங்களுக்கு எல்லாமே எனக்கு ரொம்ப கேட்கறதுக்கு பிடிக்கும். ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்தது. ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ்.
I got a feedback in my WhatsApp, and mommy says, "What a wonderful drama I heard. I can never forget. So nice. I remember the Mahabharata serial, which we saw 30 years back. Great show today." That's feedback from Devaki Mami from TAPOVAN. All right, we move in the final segment of Samaj's presentation, providing a word of thanks. Mr. Subramanian R. will do the honors. Subramanian, sir, please go ahead.
எல்லாருக்கும் மாலை வணக்கம். எப்பொழுதும் நம்ம மோகனகிருஷ்ணன் சாரோட பேச்சை கேட்கறதுனாலே ஒரு தனி மகிழ்ச்சி தான். அந்த மகிழ்ச்சிக்கு இன்னைக்கு இம்மியும் குறைவில்லாம அவர் பேசினார். மிக்க சந்தோஷம் மாலை பொழுது நல்ல விதத்திலே கழிந்ததற்கு. நம்ம ஃபார்மலா போகணுன்னாக்க ஜீவரேகா மேடம் ஆச்சாரியாலோட கருட தமன சரண கமலமிகங்கிற பாட்டை பாடி துவங்கி வச்சா. Mrs. Uma Krishnan, of course, Mohandas does not need any introduction, but all the same, there may be people who would be there who would be listening to him for the first time, so they would have come to know him better. And he has been a great coach, and he teaches and conducts Gita classes, a great storyteller. What we are missing from you is the song session we have been talking about at least for the last 2-3 sessions, and we would love to have that. And
Yes.
before we
I will definitely do a song exclusive session, song and stories with a link to that song, a thread of song.
That is a great gesture on your part, Mohan. Okay, let us go to your lecture. You started explaining. It was a very, very systematic way you went. We went to ஜனமேஜயனோட சர்ப்ப யாகத்துக்கே அங்கே போயிட்டோம். அங்கே வந்து கதை சொல்லி கேட்டுண்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் வைசம்பாயனர் கேட்டு அவ இருக்கிறவாளுக்கெல்லாம் ரிலேட் பண்ணான்னு சொன்னேன். அஃப்கோர்ஸ் யுவர் ஸ்டோரி டெல்லர் ஹாஸ் பீன் த அமர் சித்திர கதாஸ், அண்ட் வித் த picture and the thing, you need not visualize much, and the visualization remains as a young child in your mind longer than whatever you read verbose things. Because it is itihasa, and you said, Mahabharata did not happen. People say, maybe it might not have happened, as you rightly said, in the form it has been written, but there is no question about its having happened, because whatever that has been there even 700-800 years before the sculptures that are there, they all talk about it. There are evidences of the thing. So the specifics might not have taken place, but that doesn't mean the story did not take place. And those of us who read Mahabharata would be really appreciating the fact எப்படி அது ஒரு கோத்து வாங்கின கதைங்கிறது ஒவ்வொரு தடவும் புதுசா படிக்கத்தான் தெரியும். ஏன்னா 1900 பிகினிங்ல எழுதின நாவல் எல்லாம் கூட அங்கங்க தொங்கும். வேற மகாபாரதத்திலயோ ராமாயணத்திலயோ ஒரு விஷயம் தொங்குறது கிடையாது. அங்கங்க அதை முடிச்சு போட்டு எக்ஸ்பிளனேஷன் கொடுத்து எழுதின அழகே திருப்பி திருப்பி படிக்க சொல்லும். அத நீங்க வந்து சாந்தனுவோட ஸ்டோரியிலேருந்து ஆரம்பிச்சு கங்கையை பார்த்தது. கங்கையை பார்த்த உடனே அவ வெரி ஸ்ட்ரெயிட் கண்டிஷன் போட்டா, நான் எது பண்ணினாலும் கேட்கக்கூடாதுன்னு ஒத்துந்தான் வந்தான். 7 குழந்தைகள் பிறந்தது. பிறந்த உடனே கங்கையில தூக்கி தூக்கி அந்த அம்மா எரிஞ்சுட்டு வந்தா. 8வது குழந்தை பிறந்தப்ப இவனே தாங்க முடியல. அப்பதான் அவன் கேள்வி கேட்டான். அந்த குழந்தைய அவ எடுத்துன்னு போய் நான் வளர்த்துட்டு வரேங்கிற அந்த சீக்வன்ஸ் வாஸ் related very nicely, and she kept the child, brought him up, and he was known as Kangeya, the son of Ganga. And when Santanu went to the thing, he saw that young lad, the way in which he was playing with water and building bridges with the arrows. He was thrilled, and he got to know. Ganga appeared and said, "He is your son, please take him and bring him well." Of course, everybody is very much critical about Matsyagandi's father, fisherman, because நம்ம அந்த காலத்தில் இருந்ததெல்லாம் the kings used to get married to many women and then leave them. They don't give any importance. He really wanted to check. Maybe if you are the father of a daughter, you would have also put some conditions, because he wanted to give his daughter only as a queen and not as yet another person to be in the harem of the king. That is why he said very clearly, if you agree to my conditions only, I am ready to give my daughter in marriage. And he put few conditions to his Santanu, Even he couldn't bear the rest of the things. The moment he said that your son Yuvaraja cannot be the king and the children born through Mashigandhi will be the people who will be ruling Hastinapura, he said this is not going to work out. But unfortunately, if something enters your mind, it shows on your face all the time. He was all the time very much depressed, and Kangeya could make out, or Satyavrata could make out. And the best person to know, if you ask the driver what happened when the boss is not very happy, he will give you a better account of what has happened and what is the reason for the mood of the boss. And he asked the charioteer and he said, this is what is the reason. He is getting upset about it. And he went. He put conditions very clear, which you explained very well. He says, Satyavati's and Shantanu's children will rule the country. Crown Prince, you should die or you should go on exile. We don't know, because that is one of the best alternatives for Bhishma. He would have really foreseen into the future that if he has to be there, he may, when you are being part of politics, you may have to do things which you may not really agree, and you might enter into a lot of moral dilemmas, and your decision cannot be correct all the time, notwithstanding your counseling. Maybe it is just we can't say, because he could have gone on exile leaving the country. But probably he wanted to stay there and wanted to do more justice than what he needs to be doing. And he said, if you are afraid that my children would become, and that is how he said that he will be a Naishtika Brahmachari, and the whole gamut of Devatas and Asuras just to put flowers on them and call them Bhishma, Bhishma, the person who has taken one of the difficult vows. And of course, subsequently, the things went, and his father requested him, by being there, that please take care of the kingdom. He got caught in the trap over there. And he said he will take care of them. And in turn, he got the boon that you will die whenever you want to. It cannot be happening to you just like that. And that is the boon he got. And later what happened, as luck would have it, one of the sons got killed by the Gandharva. The other son, who was very smart, was never allowed to blossom and act on his own. He became like a very good plant under the great banyan tree, because Bhishma does not leave his shadow. That's what we understand from being not to allow that young lad to exercise his powers. He was not the guiding force. Probably for all practical purposes, he was ruling the thing. And as if he had believed and trained that young boy, he would have gone to Kashi himself and taken part in the Sayamvara and got hold of these brides. Whereas on the contrary, Bhishma had to go. The reason he knows best to get these girls, and Ambai became she said, I am in love with somebody. The other two got married, and that boy unfortunately died, and there was no progeny to take over the kingdom. And the lady of the house, Rajmata, just said that let Vyasa, my eldest son, give the progeny, because Bhishma refused. And Ambika got one son, Ambalika got Pandu, and the maidservant got the beautiful, a man full of wisdom and justice, Vitura. Unfortunately, his mother not belonging to the royal race, he couldn't reach the throne. That is one unfortunate part of it. And a lot of things, he was a great guide. I don't know whether Bhishma had a lot of respect for Vidura. Dhritarashtra had a lot of respect for Vidura. Always Dhritarashtra listened to Vidura only to spurn it away because his love for his son prevented him from doing what he should have been doing as the right thing. I don't know whether Bhishma listened to any time except a few junctures Vidura's advice, which were probably obvious. No critical decision he took. Maybe it was his decision, and subsequently he went to Gandhar, which is a small country, and the king had no other alternative but to give Gandhari in marriage to Dhritarashtra. Then we went in this thing, they parted the kingdom, the worst part given to the Pandavas, the good part given to Kauravas, and he did nothing over such injustice that was done. You said very nicely, the right thing not done at the right time is of no value. As they say, Shaydakka allada Shayakkadam Shaydakka Shayamayanam Kadum. செய்ய வேண்டியதை செய்யாத்தினாலும் அழிஞ்சு கட்டுப்படுவா, செய்யறத செய்யாத்தினாலும் கட்டுப்படுவா. அதுதான் அவருக்கு ஆட்சி. அவருக்கு Indraprastha came, and you said beautifully, karma gives back whatever you say. Whatever thing he did to Amba and left her totally in lurch, maybe to stick to his principles of Naishtika Brahmachari, but we should look at from other side. A lot of people have written about the plight of Amba, and we know how much of vengeance she had, and she was born as Shikandi, the transgender who was used by Arjuna under the advice of Krishna to kill Bhishma. And you said so much for now. Lots of things could be talked about. As you started the talk at the beginning, this is just a Bhishma story without passing any judgment whatsoever. That is what you said. And no reflective thinking on these issues. We are looking at things as it happened. And maybe the few lessons we could learn here and there from his life. Maybe some of the things which the people which Bhishma would have been under compulsion, we would not be really knowing. You know, whenever people are under moral dilemmas, the decisions that are taken by them is they have their own logic to do that. When you do some of the decisions under pressure, notwithstanding we want to take a decision, not under pressure, we are forced to take, and not all of them turn out to be right. This is a fact of life. And Bhishma was no different from all these things. And nothing wrong in Draupadi just telling. You know, all the ministers and all the great officers, when they retire and come, the policies they talk about is very great, and not one of them they implemented where they were in power. The amount of dharma, Bhishma just preaches the Pandavas, because Krishna says to Yudhishthira, better listen to this gentleman because he knows everything about dharma. If you want to rule the kingdom well, you must listen to him. He did preach a lot. Maybe he couldn't follow most of the thing. That is the way his life went. If you look at it, for all the valor, all the learning, all the courage, his life somehow proved to be not all that happy one, which is pretty unfortunate. Life goes always like that. We don't get everything in life what we desire, but Bhishma's life, whatever reason it is, it proved to be miserable pages in his life, which I think people who read Mahabharata should be feeling bad about it at the end of the story. With all his good nature, the vows he took, he got sucked into many things where he could not help the situation. You have promised to talk much more about Krishna, and we look forward. It has always been a pleasure listening to you, sir. Thanks a lot for your lecture. Thanks a lot for some of the insight information you provided us today, and at least some of them will prove to be the guidelines. And all that we can't help, we need to reconcile to the ground realities and do things under the pressure of time, under the pressure of so many other things. As you said, the advice given by others, you can't be, you think you know for sure that is not the right decision, but all the same you are forced to take it because you get forced into situations. Your helplessness you cannot avoid, and you need to bear the brunt in life. I think that is what I understood. I thought I'll share with you, sir. It has been a great talk. Thanks a lot for your talk. And it has been a pleasure, and we would like to have more of pleasures of listening to you. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you, Subramanian sir, for the wonderful submission as always. Thank you, Mohanda, for your valuable time. Thank you, Uma Madam, for the introduction, and Jivareka Madam for the prayer. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the show. The recording will be uploaded to YouTube sometime tomorrow. Kindly share the link as widely as possible. And as a wrap up for us over here, until we meet next, is wishing you all good night, and Shubh Ratri.